From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big morning on Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the news out of Los Angeles may signal there may be more months of checks. Then we turn to the week on and $3.5 trillion of checks for you. We'll go over some of those checks, when we're going to see more details of those checks and what those checks are for. Spoiler alert, a lot of money for seniors. Then we go over the bill in the third part of the video, the two bills, the votes, and what Chuck Schumer is doing on Tuesday. I'll go over what the senators are doing over the weekend going into the new week, and what you should anticipate in today's news cycle as the situation's changing very quickly. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up, and especially if you're on SSI all the way to VA, and what Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, said last week, this week, as well about where inflation rate's going. It's all great news. And finally, we go to the very big sums of money that viewers continue to get. $10,000, $20,000. It's your day to get this big money. It's a big morning. I'm really excited for you. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to the news, starting right here. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Congratulations, you got it through the week. A new week upon us shortly, and it's going to be a great one. A lot of breaking news coming up this week. How's the weather where you are? It's cooler here in LA. I just finally settled down. The nights have been wonderful. The daytimes are settling down a little bit. Still can get cooler from my days. But jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we'll go over that monthly stimulus checks and why there may be more months of checks because of the breaking news out of Los Angeles. Then we turn to the recon and why that recon has $3.5 trillion for you and why Bernie Sanders says there's fortunes of checks in there for you. Then we turn to the vote, the bills, the votes, what Chuck Schumer is doing for one vote on Tuesday, what the legislators are doing this weekend, what they need to do and what they still got to get done. I have all that great news as well. And then we turn to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI all the way to VA. And then finally, the big money the viewers continue to get, $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Like Nisi, who got $23,000. It's your day to get it as well. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, like right now, and then taped in the afternoons. New shows of Afternoons LA Today, Evenings LA Today, and Overnights Crypto Tonight. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this family, a loving family of great information. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 2,000, 3,000 likes. Every like helps and puts it better in the rankings of the algorithm. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check starting right now. Well, situation has changed dramatically, and it started ironically all in Los Angeles. It was 3 weeks ago in which we were looking at the House bill and the Senate proposal. And the House bill and the Senate proposal, we wondered, well, would legislators can still contend the pandemic is over? 3 weeks ago, LA County out of nowhere said, wait a second, we see a problem. Maybe you should voluntarily wear a mask. And then things started to snowball. 24 hours ago, LA County went deeper into their position. They ordered all LA County residents to wear masks indoors, even if vaccinated. Masks are back on by rule in LA County. The same day, a GOP leader on Capitol Hill, when questioning Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, said, Mr. Chairman, considering that the pandemic's not over, there you go. So suddenly when we look at this House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, Senate proposal, July to December, things have changed. House bill, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. Senate monthly amount unknown, but word on the street is this? Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Now, with the news suggesting that the pandemic is certainly not over, cases rising staggeringly in all 50 states, the pandemic is certainly not over. So, with that, the House bill would likely pay more than just 12 months of checks, which would be more than just $13,000. Compare that to this. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate. House of Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. Vote House of Senate right now. Boy, things change very quickly. Even when I was reporting the change of the mask mandate about 2 weeks ago, I did not anticipate the announcement from LA County yesterday. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent if you got a third, they want to give you a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats want to give you a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats want to give you a fourth stimulus check, double it. Family of four, Democrats want to give you a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDA, VA, benefits of any type covered in this channel, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check will be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is a monthly check. It does not waive. It does not come in waves. So if you're at the baseball ballpark today watching your favorite game, and suddenly they say, hey, and then suddenly you're sitting next to the check, and they say, hey, Jack, how come you didn't get up and do the wave? Oh, you're from that team, aren't you? Yeah, it's not a waivable check. It also doesn't like your team. KC Royal Blue, I don't know. No, this is not KC anything. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check would land in the month of July for the month of July. Those Democrats represent. And in the month of August for the month of August. But what happened to that July 4th vote? Well, in the third part of this video, I'll go over what happened to that July 4th vote. I'll be going over what Schumer's vote is set for Tuesday. What type of vote for who? Which bill is it? I'll go over what the senators are doing this weekend. Yes, they are working. Surprise, surprise. And which bill they're working on. I'll go over the bills, the vote, the dates, the times, everything you need to know in the final 15 of this video. Lots of breaking news you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LA. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the recon, the $3.5 trillion price tag, fortunes of checks for you. Who gets those checks? Among them are seniors. I'll go over some of the monies in that recon. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, and it raises your benefits up a lifetime. And what did Jay Powell say on Capitol Hill this week? In the fifth stimulus part of this video, I'll go over the raising up of your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. But first, let's get some money. I am so proud of you. You have been killing it. I have been recording videos of saying I can get $5,000 for these videos for this channel for you for rent. And you've been getting $12,000 for rent, $13,000, and upwards of $20,000. Nisi from this channel has gotten $23,000, $20,000 of which is for rent. When we turn to utilities, I was reporting $300 of utilities I can get from these videos for these channels for you. And viewers are now getting, because of my videos, $3,000 for utilities. When we turn to Snap, I had some viewers get $5,000, $6,000 because of my videos early on. Now viewers are getting $12,000 like John. Viewers are getting 3 items like Art Sullivan. And I am so proud of you because this is what this channel does. In spring of last year, people were not getting their EIDL loans or EIDL grants, so I did not launch this channel to track it because that check was not coming. There was nothing trackable about it. I launched the channel to get it. And I got viewers, a lot of it. $25 million of EIDL loans and grants I got for viewers of this channel. In fall of 2020, second stimulus was not going out. It wasn't law yet. So there's no second stimulus check to track. But I did get $250,000 for rent for viewers of this channel. Like Tyrone, who got $15,000 for his family of 4. And now you're doing 5,000% bigger numbers than ever before. So get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to go over the big money for you right now. Post your success stories in the live chat. Your rent, utilities, Snap, and more. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. Each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next until you say yes. Never take yourself out of the equation saying, maybe I shouldn't apply. Apply, apply. All right, you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords are going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know. like stimulus, or Mitch's wonderful backup singing career. Ow, my ear just hurts thinking about that. They don't know that. They don't want to hear about it. They really don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They value their hearing. So there you go. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of money is Snap. If you got Snap as well, jump in the live chat. Every time you post your success stories, you do three things. One, you inspire other people to get money. Number two, you inspire someone who got one item to get three items, like Art Sullivan got three. And number three, you inspire me to know what the numbers are. Sometimes my numbers are not as big as they actually are. Let's go over the incredible numbers for Snap. As I said in this video, John got $12,000 for Snap. It's a fortune. How much is Snap? What is it for? First, what is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. What is it for? Your food. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of two executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raised everyone's benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, Gail, got it as well. And there you go. You're killing it. I'm killing it. And it's just incredible. 11 minutes of this video, we've gotten $15,000 for Snap out of Hawaii and $5,000 for rent, and we're just getting started. Next pile of the money is the refund check due to overpayment of computer error with your state. That has been ordered back to you from the federal government. Two viewers have gotten this so far, one $3,000, one $5,000. Where is it going to land? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, go contact your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to computer error of unemployment benefits? And can you please track it with a computer that actually works this time? And the last wonderful pot of money is the money coming back from IRS. This is exciting news. This is that refund check due to overpayment of your unemployment benefits. IRS gave us an update about this just days ago. COD has gotten it, Margaret got it, as Michael have gotten it, but some have not. And what did IRS say? The IRS said that the current refund of the current round, the average amount of the refund of the current round, is a whopping $1,265. Wow, that's almost as much as the third stimulus check. Direct deposits started July 14th. Mail checks are going out July 16th. And waves will continue week after week. Wow. How much money? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, do a transcript search, and it'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff that you didn't want to know. It reveals stuff that you don't want people to know ever since you entered the witness protection plan. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you pay. It'll reveal, really, does Mitch sing soprano or alto soprano? Or just alto nothing? And finally, it'll reveal the tax return refund check and get it when you're getting it. And can we top that? We can, as we go to the second part of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 with lots of breaking news starting right now. We had a recon initially that had roads and bridges in there, and that recon was too big. And so when Democrats polled Democrats would they vote in favor of it, they said no. So they had to take the roads and bridges out and shrink it, and that's what became the current incarnation of the recon. It's important for you to know that going into the new week, a lot of print media and certainly the president keep on changing the names of these items. So I want you to learn what the names are so you don't get confused. Recon and, oops, sorry, I clicked it wrong there. Recon and then bipartisan. So we have two names, but ironically, people want to use multiple names, making this more confusing. What is recon also called? Recon is also called reconciliation or budget bill. You'll recognize it by seeing the price tag, $3.5 trillion. The people usually quoted in the recon articles are Bernie Sanders or Jolipal. Then we have bipartisan. It is also called infrastructure. Who is often quoted in the bipartisan articles? Kristen Sinema, Mitt Romney, and Lisa Murkowski. Bipartisan is also called the infrastructure. It has a smaller price tag, $1.5 trillion. Okay, now that we got the names out of the way and now we understand which one is which, what is the great news? Well, the great news to start is that the price tag of the recon has already been passed. Now, by taking roads and bridges out of the recon and making it smaller, it made it passable. This is what was said before the agreement on the price tag. A conservative publication op-ed said that the higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put in the bipartisan roads and bridges, it made the number of the recon smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry to set you up, Mitch. Now, here's why everything has changed. There was a second part of this quote originally where it said the GOP should not bless the infrastructure. They should vote against it. But that's not happening because the GOP loves the infrastructure. Surprise, surprise. Now, what's also changed is that we have an agreement. Later in this video, I'll go over that agreement. But this week, they had a passage of the price tag of the recon, $3.5 trillion. They don't do the passage by vote. They do it by caucus meeting of the Democrats in a meeting. And they agreed upon $3.5 trillion. It's a historic day, as Bernie Sanders said. I'll go more about that over that later in this video. Now, how big was that achievement? Well, in the days leading up to it, I had been reading to you that the progressives wanted the recon to go big enough and demanded it to go big. Progressive caucus members were meeting with the White House daily. Representative Ilhan Omar said that we have a commitment that regardless of what happens in the bipartisan, we will get a recon that goes as far as we want it. Well, they got it, $3.5 trillion. Bernie Sanders says he's ecstatic about that price tag. And then Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, says that I refuse to vote for any bipartisan unless we have a large enough recon. Well, he got it as well. And he wanted his road, he wanted his housing in the recon. How did we get to this spot? Well, the president had been telling the progressives for weeks before even the agreement on the 3.5 to protect the recon because of the progressive policies in there. And Brian Schatz at the White House had said the progressive priorities in the recon are his. Here is why this is so important. It's important for you to know what is a recon, how is it voted on, and how is it written. First, what is a recon? A recon is a bill. It's called reconciliation. In this case, it's written by Democrats only, for Democrats only, to be passed by Democrats only. Who actually writes it? The lead authors are House subcommittee members. Under the Constitution, House subcommittees are delegated different subjects by what they're established for. So House Ways and Means Subcommittee does stimulus checks. They do unemployment benefits. In this case, the House subcommittees are writing up the legislation with the Senate subcommittees working in conjunction with them. Same party, both Democrats. While they're writing them up, this is what's important for you to know. There is nothing on the Constitution for them to show you what they're doing. They don't have to show you what they're writing. They have to show you what they're voting. They don't have to show you when they finish writing it, and they don't have to show you when they finish voting on it. When it's all done, then they send their papers up to either Nancy or Chuck. Let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages they wrote. Combine it up, and there you go. That's a bill. Either an H on there for Nancy's House of Representatives or an S on there for Mitch's Senate. And while that process goes on, what did we know going into that? Well, that Jalopal was pushing. How do we get to the spot? From Jalopal. Jalopal had written Chuck Schumer a letter saying, call a vote, Chuck, on the recon. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100 plus, yes, 100, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, can we top that? We can. When 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee, which I just went over, wrote the president a letter saying they're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package. Boy, they wrote your third stimulus, they represent their writing your fifth stimulus. Can we top that? We can, as the president has now gotten his international corporate tax rate minimum international law officially. It was 3 weeks ago where you saw a ceremonial signature overseas where the president was signing something. That was only ceremonial. This week it became official. It became international law. The international corporate tax rate minimum is international law. And as an example of why it's important to stay with me, while I was reporting that ceremonial signature, there was 2 trolls that kept on saying, it requires act of Congress to be approved. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And here we go. It's now official. Why is this big for recon? It's big because it makes the recon now easier to pass. One, they don't have to put the confusing language about an international corporate tax rate into the fourth stimulus recon. They don't have to write it up and put it in there. Number two, it makes it easier to call for a vote because that confusing thing is not in there. It makes it easier to vote on it because that confusing thing is not in there. And it makes it easier to pass it because that confusing thing is not in there. And boy, can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, you are going to see a lot of breaking news. You're going to see what Mitt Romney's saying about the Congressional Budget Office's report coming out next week. You're going to see what Chuck Schumer is doing for Tuesday. You're going to see what could potentially be an issue going into the next week. And I will have a personal message about that as well. You will see where the details will manifest themselves as the voting times for the recon, the voting times for the bipartisan, the bill reveals for the bipartisans, and the bill revelations for the recon. That's coming up in the final 15. It's a lot of breaking news. I told you there was going to be breaking news all weekend long going into the new week. Also coming up is fifth stimulus, but something more even wonderful, the volunteers. If you have been watching this video and you're inspired by those people posting in the live chat, the monies they got, their rent, utilities, and internet, but you tried and you can't find it, don't worry. I got your back. The volunteers got your back. This is a community of people loving one another. Reach out to them and they'll help you. Where are they? Open the description of this video. You'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house is a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. On that page are a series of volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. They'll help you get this money. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with you with that big, exciting final 15. Trust me, it's going to be a big broadcast. And stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues on this big Mornings LA. How are you? We got a lot coming up in the second part of this video. Fourth stimulus heats up with the vote, the bill, the dates, what Chuck is doing on Tuesday, what the CBO is doing next week. What Mitt Romney said about what's going on this weekend. They're working, I'm working, and we're going to have all the details coming up. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. It's all exciting, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this loving family. And also, consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Don't forget to like the video. Coming up later today is a new show on Afternoons Lalate, a new show on Evenings Lalate, and a new show on Overnight's Crypto. But first, let's cut to why there was so much excitement this week when Jay Powell spoke. Jay Powell, who's your head of the Federal Reserve, spoke on Capitol Hill about interest rates and inflation, and the news was great for my beneficiaries. My beneficiaries have been waiting since fall of 2020 to see their reform of SSI all the way out to VA, which was promised to them on the campaign trail. It hasn't come out from the president, so congressional leaders say they're putting it into the fifth stimulus. They're putting in raising up of benefits, removing the asset limit, adding inflationary benchmark, removing the income exclusion, and removing the marriage penalty. Let's go over the breaking news about this. First, how does this work? Your benefits will be raised up one big time. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries, then they'll apply a new benchmark. That a benchmark is applied at the end of the year. The benchmark determines your benefits, how much they go up the next year. The benchmark will be inflation. And what did Jay Powell say on Capitol Hill, your Federal Reserve chair, this week? The same thing he said last month. Yes, he said that inflation will go up and it will temporarily reach a spike around December. That's right when they apply the benefits benchmark approximately for you. He says this will be a temporary, or what's called transitory, spike, and then it'll come back down. Now, what did Wall Street this week say that spike number will be? My number. I've been talking about 5% lately, and they said they think the spike will reach 5% before it settles back to something normal like 1 or 2. Wow. So let's go over how this works. First, it'll raise your benefits up. Then the benchmark will be applied. Let's say it's 5%. That would raise your benefits up not just 5% next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then if the inflation rate the year after that is 2%, you'll be a +2, +5%. It's wonderful news. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. That's going to go away, and you'll be able to have some Crayola blue in your hand. And no Casey either. And then, sorry, Canoe. And then they'll remove the income cap, dating back to 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work if you wish. And finally, the marriage penalty. It's going to go away. Love is going to win, and love will conquer all. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. The marriage penalty will no longer penalize people. And there you go. Now, yeah, in the fifth stimulus, there will be another stimulus check. The House subcommittee represents that they're putting monthly stimulus checks, or at least stimulus checks, in the fifth stimulus package. That would be for next year, not overlapping with fourth. The president has dedicated $1 billion, meantime, to the Social Security Administration to ensure your stimulus goes out on time and to ensure your monthly checks come out on time. And number 3, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you must, under the Constitution, under the IRS, do 2 things. No way around it. 1, file a tax return, and 2, request it on the tax return. If you haven't done both, reach out to a tax preparer. Now, if you're in the chat and you notice people with a purple hawk emoji and you wonder, how did they get that? Click the join link under the video. By becoming a member, you're delivered daily from me a breakdown of all the big money that's available in third, fourth, and fifth stimulus. Most importantly, third stimulus. When second stimulus was passed, and it was a $600 stimulus check, I said, yeah, but I'll get you $6,000. I got viewers $15,000, like Tyrone for his family. Big sums of money. When third stimulus was passed early this year, $14 stimulus check, some people were just excited about $14 stimulus check. I said, please, I'm going to get you $14,000. And viewers are getting now upwards of $23,000. Viewers routinely are getting $12,000 a day from this channel. So consider becoming a member, because members are delivered daily from me to them a breakdown of all the big money under third stimulus that's still available for you to get. It's application based. And with that, perfect timing, it's time for the final 15 on Mornings Lalate. Here we go. There is so much breaking news to go over about what's happening over the weekend and into the new week. First, it's important to keep the 2 bills separated. Reconciliation, your money. $3.5 trillion. Bipartisan infrastructure, roads and bridges, not your money. Okay. Why was the vote not happening on July 4th when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer had represented would-be call for a vote? Because at the time, the recon was included roads and bridges. It was when the roads and bridges were in the recon. Now that they took roads and bridges out, it's now passable. Well, why have they not called the vote on the recon? Because they have to have the vote on the recon before or shortly right before the infrastructure bipartisans vote. A number of Democrats have said they will not vote in favor of the recon if you try to throw the bipartisan by the wayside and get to it, in 10 months from now. So you have to have the bipartisan done, even though it doesn't have money in it for us. Our money is in the recon. All right, so what was the great news about recon this week? Let's go over the recon first, and then we'll go to the bipartisan, and then we'll go back to the recon. The great news was the passage of the price. The first thing you do with a recon is you get a passage of the price. The price is not done by a vote. Rather, it's done by meeting the Senate caucus members, Democrats, in a room and saying, do you agree upon a price? Bernie Sanders today, in a new report, says that he had asked for $6 trillion. As a progressive, he asked for $6 trillion for lots of checks for the American people. But he says that he is ecstatic, euphoric with $3.5 trillion. How? He says it's the same programs, just less years of the programs. Wow. He called a historic amount for a historic day. Let's first go over why the dealing, reaching an agreement on the price tag, is huge. As Senator Tim Kaine, Hillary's vice presidential running mate, said within just the last day or two, by agreeing on the price, it makes everything easy going forward. All you have to do is slide in the price tags into the individual items. Number two, it's also huge because the price tag is so big. $3.5 trillion is a fortune. It has the ability for progressives, conservative Democrats, and all type of Democrats to get what they want. And that's why every single Democrat came out applauding this achievement of reaching this price this week. A huge, enormous achievement. So the next question is, where and what is the $3.5 trillion going to? Here's what I said earlier in the video, but I want to say it even clearer right now. The recon will not be shown to the American people until when it's ready to be passed into law. So it's sort of like a pop singer who has an album, does not want you to see the tracks ahead of time, and does not release the tracks ahead of time. And then someone will ultimately come around and say, I haven't heard that she's doing an R&B track on there or a country track. Where did you hear that information? Well, you don't know it until you see the album. So here's what you need to know. Is that even broadcast media saying, we have not seen the recon provisions because they're not releasing it to us. So there's no time and place to say, I haven't heard, because guess what? No one's heard either. So wait a second. How have I been able to get some of the provisions of what's in the recon? Napster? I don't know. Free downloads? I don't know. No, actually, I do know. There was a conservative publication who ran a hit piece that basically said, the recon's horrible for the American people, spending money. And so it wanted to use some of the examples of what they had learned, what's in the recon, as examples of something that's bad, even though they're not bad. So this is not a comprehensive list. This is not all the items. This is just a few of the items they wanted to sort of disparage. But it's money for us, so we love it. There will be checks for free school meals. There'll be checks for tax breaks. There'll be checks for cheaper prescription medication. Yes, there'll be checks for immigration reforms. There'll be checks for farmers. There'll be check for elections. There'll be checks for free internet. They're dedicating fortunes to local cities so cities can own their own internet companies and offer it free to their citizens. There is free checks for labor, organized laborers, and internet independent contractors. And there's free checks for seniors, like lowering eligibility age, and lots of checks for dental, vision, and hearing aid. Wow. Now, let's go back over to the bipartisan before we come back to the recon. The bipartisan got wonderful news on Wednesday when the bipartisan group, infrastructure, made an agreement to themselves that they would agree upon the deal items of what's in the roads and bridges by Thursday. And if they don't get it done by Thursday, they would get it done shortly thereafter. By all accounts, they're practically done with the deal provisions, like which road, which bridge, which, freeway in the road and bridges. Now, they also said that they hope that the vote on the bipartisan bill will be this week coming up. Wow. What do I think? I agree with also nonpartisan publications out this weekend and last week that said, no, the vote won't be next week. It'll be the week after. They're not that ready yet. But this is why this is huge news. This is huge news because remember, the recon has to go for a vote before the bipartisan. So if the bipartisan goes for a vote in 2 weeks, the recon could potentially go for a vote this week and could potentially reveal the recon bill this coming week. Exciting details. Now, what is Chuck Schumer doing on Tuesday? Here is where it gets super complicated, so I'm going to slow it down. On Tuesday, Chuck Schumer is calling a vote that is a procedural vote only on discussion, not the bill, just discussion of the bipartisan. What does that mean? It basically means, the best analogy I can give you is the teacher says to the students, we're going to have a pop quiz coming up. And the students say, can you give us 2 hours to prepare? No, I'm going to give you an hour to prepare. Well, let's vote on it. I vote, I give you an hour to prepare. No, I vote, you give me 2 hours to prepare. That's what Tuesday's vote is. It's not a vote on the pop quiz. It's a vote on how long they can talk about something. So the vote on Tuesday by Chuck Schumer will determine how much longer the bipartisan group can talk about the bipartisan negotiations. It's not a vote on the bill. It's just how long can they keep on talking about it. Do I think it's going to pass? No, of course that's not going to pass because Democrats and Republicans don't want to be told, I don't want to be talking. I can talk when I want to talk. But it does push it along. It is working though. And there you go. Why? Because this weekend into next week, the Democrats and the Republicans have been meeting, working on finalizing the infrastructure. But is there a part of it missing? I'll get to that in a second. So this is huge news coming back to the recon because suddenly there you go. Now, it's important for you to understand that final 14 days before things become a law, the news cycle gets very tight. When I mean tight, the news cycle changes sometimes every 2 hours. If you go to a website that carries the news, they may run an article from Thursday, and by Friday that story is completely out of date because it's changed 10 times. In December 2020, I remember a lot of examples where we woke up in the morning and the stimulus check was going up and down price and then changing the eligibility. We had moments where we heard from Pat Toomey that it sounded like he was going to kill the whole second stimulus. It was going to fall apart. It wasn't going to pass. And then suddenly there was a concession. Then there was a concession. So things change very quickly. In things changing very quickly, it's important for you to push. With a $3.5 trillion price tag, Democrats and certainly progressives who love to spend money on their projects are going to try to grab certain sums of money for their projects. You have to grab the sum of money for us. We're the lobbyists for ourselves. And so you have to do what WR did from this channel two Fridays ago on noontime. He picked up the phone and called his Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat, Delaware, and did exactly what I said. Told the senator why he needs stimulus checks, or at least a secretary. I need stimulus checks because I lost my job, because my mom's on Social Security and her checks are not enough, because it costs too much to buy eggs and milk, because our community doesn't have any jobs, because this is why we need it. You are not going to be calling up as a donut guy. You are categorically not speaking to anyone in donut language. When is the vote? When is the bill? When is the check? When is this? No. You're calling up to say why you need it. Remember, they're elected officials. They're in Washington, D.C. in a comfy little office, and they don't see what's really going on back in their home state all the time unless they hear from you. Now, if you don't have any Democratic senators in your state, don't worry. Pick up the phone and call someone else's Democratic senators. Because remember, it's important to push because until something's revealed, you got to push. And when it is revealed, you can still push. In fall of December 2020, the continuing resolution budget bill was being worked on to fund the government. And I came up with the idea on this channel, solely by myself, to put stimulus in the continuing resolution. People thought I was crazy. Who puts a stimulus check in continuing resolution? It has nothing to do with the running of the federal government. I said, let's put it in there because it needs to go somewhere. And you pushed CR for stimulus. When trending on Twitter, Democratic legislators saw it and they started putting stimulus in the CR. But it was the wrong one. They put in unemployment stimulus. So we pushed back and we said, seats for stimulus. We're going to kick you out unless you put stimulus checks in there. And they did. That's why it's important to push to the final hour. Next, how many votes? 12 votes. It takes 12 votes, not 12 days, 3 rounds of 4. Senate subcommittee, Senate floor, House floor, and the president. You have the recon substantive, the recon procedural, and the bipartisan to vote on. So you have 4 things to vote on. Finally, personal message. Do I have an opinion about anything in here? I do. There is one thing that makes me a little bit uneasy about. There's a new article out today that says the bipartisan group has still yet not agreed upon how to pay for the bipartisan infrastructure. We've heard this discussion now for 3 months. It's a big issue. How are they going to pay for it? Now, I'm not so much concerned about that part of the story. What I'm concerned about is this part of the story, that there was that the story talked about 40 or 50 different ways to pay for the roads and bridges, and that one analyst in the story said, sorry, but none of those ideas pay for it. It's not enough money. Oh boy. So I'm a little worried, not so much about the agreement about what goes into roads and bridges, but these bipartisan group of people have not come up with an idea of how to pay for it. The CBO report comes out next week. The CBO is the Congressional Budget Office, nonpartisan, and will reveal the score on the roads and bridges infrastructure bipartisan bill. It will talk about how much debt it takes to do this bill. Now, there's nothing wrong with debt, but there's enough Republicans who've already said if there's too much debt, if you don't have it paid for, we're not voting in favor of it. Mitt Romney today in a brand new report says, I'm not worried about the CBO. I'm not worried about the debt. We're going to get the figured out how to pay for it. I have faith in Mitt Romney. I've had faith in him before. But I am, and as a former head of Bain Capital, if anyone knows numbers well, it's Mitt Romney. But I'm a little concerned about that these people have not gotten an agreement on how to pay for it. It doesn't take a long time to do it. They just got to do it. 8 hours and get it done. There you go. And with that, I look forward to seeing you throughout the day. New shows this afternoon on Afternoons Lalate, Evenings Lalate, Overnights Crypto, Early Mornings Lalate, and of course, this show. And with that, I'll see you throughout the day. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. Next up, 1 million. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The toast was toasting, the butter was buttering, the coffee was brewing, and I was here, yours here, and I'll see you next on LA.